I'm Jessica.
And today we will be talking about, finally, all the books we read in November. I'm glad we're finally doing this because I'm starting to get really confused about what I actually read in November versus this month. What I started in November versus finished in this month.
Yeah.
So, first book I read is House of Secrets by Darcy Coates. This is the sequel to House of Shadows. And I don't know which I prefer.
Is it just a duology?
Yes.
So it's done.
And you have to read them in the order. They're not standalones. This follows, again, Sophie and Joseph. They're in the first book. What they thought was over in the first book was not actually over. So now they're finishing things. They're finishing what they started.
Okay.
And I just love the setting of this book. It's definitely very eerie and creepy, but I don't really think it's like too dark.
Yeah.
There's nothing demonic about it. I'd give the series maybe like a 4.5 star.
Oh, wow.
It was really good for my first Darcy Coates books, but I think there was just some pacing issues that, like, some scenes I wish were a little longer, some I wish were a little shorter.
Yeah. Okay. The first book I read this month is the second book in the Sweater Weather series, and it is called The Fallback Plan, and it's by Melanie Jacobson. This is also free on Kindle Unlimited if you're interested, but this one follows our main girl, Jolie, who is returning back to her childhood hometown to open a bar and grill. And she, like, I think she worked up at some, like, startup company, saved a lot of money, was really successful, but she always wanted to go back and open up her own bar and grill. So she does that. And then she finds out that the sheriff of this small town is, like, her high school crush. Like, they were, like, friends, and then something happened, and then it made her really dislike him. So she's, like, very standoffish towards him, and he doesn't really understand why. And then as time goes on, he finds out why. But there's this really weird mystery element in this story. And basically, throughout the town, through random houses, there start to be someone putting, like, baby dolls in people's yard. And so he's, like, trying to uncover that while, like, trying to figure out, like, why she doesn't like him anymore. There's just, like, all these weird little mysteries sprinkled in, which are, like, kind of random and funny. But I liked this story. I like the small town aspect of it. They also established a trivia night at the bar, which I thought was really funny. He is also temporarily raising his niece. So there's kind of like, he's not a single dad, but he is, like, in the moment having to be. So it was really cute. I think I still liked the first book better. So I'd probably give this one, like, a 3.5, but I do enjoy this series, so I'll probably continue on, just not, like, in a rush.
Yeah. Okay, my next book was A Study in Drowning by Ava Reed. I've been wanting to read this ever since it came out, and then I was going to get it from the library, and then Amazon got me. And I know they have this other places, but I pre-ordered it from Amazon as this beautiful special edition. I hate, like, my number one bookish pet peeve that nobody talks about is glossy dust jackets. They are, like, the cheapest feeling thing ever. And so I also love that with this one, it's not like that anymore. And unexpectedly really loved this book. I thought it was giving major House of Salt and Sorrows vibes. This follows Effie, who really wanted to be a writer and has always been obsessed with this specific series written by this specific author and just all of his works in general. But in this world, there's still, like, some sexism going on to where they don't allow women into the writing program. So the next thing, like highest level acceptance rate, would be the architecture program, which she really doesn't care about, but it's still at the same school. So she just wants to go anyways. And then there's this like weird competition kind of that comes up that the author's family is giving out, like, if you submit this paper and we pick you, you get to redesign our family home. And so she goes, and this other guy that is a writing student also goes. She finds out he has, like, an ulterior motive. Maybe everyone does. So they start kind of unraveling this mystery together of, like, who really was this big author? Did he write his work? Did someone else inspire it? Is there truth to it? Because there's also, like, this fae world incorporated into all of this.
Oh, I didn't know
it's
that.
really interesting, but they're like, it's dark fae. It's how fae should be. Cruel Prince fae. There's just so many things going on. It's super vibey. In my opinion, the perfect November read. November and January are like my dark academia months. So, pick this up in a few weeks. I'll give it 4 stars.
Okay, next, I was really excited to read The Last One at the Wedding by Jason Recollect because I absolutely loved Hidden Pictures, but I've got to say, I was honestly disappointed by this book, and yeah, I was just disappointed by it. So this follows a man named Frank who is like in his early 50s, blue collar, hardworking. He's a UPS driver. He's like known for never having an accident as a UPS worker, which is apparently a really big deal. And he's a single dad. His wife died like quite some time ago when the story takes place. And he just has one daughter named Maggie. And Maggie moved off to, I think it was New York City, and started like this really, what do you call it? Like corporate career, worked her way up. And something happened and he hasn't talked to her for quite some time. But out of the blue, she calls him to let him know that she's getting married. And so she wants him to come and meet her fiance and talk about the wedding and blah, blah, blah. And so he comes to meet her fiance and realizes that he's the son of this like really wealthy billionaire tech startup guy. And so he's like intrigued by that, but also, this is also the company she works for. So it's the company she works for's son. And so he comes to meet her fiance and he seems just like disinterested in like their wedding and in her and in meeting the dad. But he's like, whatever, like I'll just go along with it. So she's happy. So the whole book is like taking place, or most of it, at the wedding site, which is like kind of like the family owns this whole like little village on the lake, and so they're all staying there, and then like at the end of the week the wedding's gonna take place. But like he goes there and there's like these things that mysteriously just aren't adding up about the family of this guy, and some things that they're saying, and like people in the village are talking about this family, and so the dad's like, I'm gonna figure this out. So it's not really like his other book, which is more like suspense leaning towards horror. This one is more just like mystery. So I don't know if that's necessarily what disappointed me, but I just found the whole story to be just annoying. Like the family was annoying. The daughter is a brat. The dad like really cares about her and isn't like recognized. I don't know. I just didn't really like the characters or the story. Maybe that's just me, but like I would probably just give this maybe 3 stars. So it was okay. Like I was entertained enough to like want to know what happened, but afterwards I was like, oh, like,
that's it.
Yeah. So anyways,
I have a book from also a favorite author that I was disappointed in. I feel like everyone was disappointed in this when it came out, or they absolutely loved it. And I was like, there's no way. Like, they've lost their minds. Everyone was like, it's just not like her normal stuff. And I didn't know what anyone would mean by that until I read it. And I don't know what it is about this book that I dislike so much. If you don't know, the rule book is a second book to the cheat sheet. You don't have to read this one. It will spoil the cheat sheet if you decide to read this one first. I highly recommend the cheat sheet.
Yeah.
I do not recommend this, really. And I've read almost everything Sarah Adams has written. I'm a big fan, so...
It's almost painful to say you don't like something.
It's like, I'm not just being picky to where, like, oh, maybe you just weren't in the mood for it. Like, I was so upset that I was in denial that it took me so long to read this because I didn't like it. Anyways, this follows Nora and Derek, and they used to date in college. She is now like a agent for just athletes in general, and she's been kind of an intern for a while. And finally, her boss is like, "Okay, I have a client for you. It's Derek Pinder," which is the guy she used to date. And he doesn't know that it's her because everyone in the office calls her Mac because her last name is Mackenzie. So he thinks it's like a guy that's his agent, and then they go to a meeting and he just like gets up and walks out because it's her. And she left things on really bad terms when they broke up. And everything just like happened too fast for how long it had been. So they're kind of like at first bullying each other to where she's like bullying him by being nice because he's trying to get rid of her. So he's like, I'm just going to be the worst client ever. And then she'll like suspend the contract essentially. And she's like, I know what he's doing. He's not getting away with this. Then one day they get drunk and they get married in Vegas. Go on like a fake honeymoon and all this stuff. And which like all sounds entertaining. If Nora wasn't the most unsufferable character I've ever read in my life. I love Derek, but she was not Sarah Adams' normal, like, quirky girl. Normally, you just kind of take her characters with a grain of salt. Like, I know this is unrealistic. I know they're a little immature at times, but it's funny. But this was just not funny. Like, the jokes were so stupid. I'm sorry. I really didn't like it, and I'm really sad about it. I would have loved every single chapter if it was only Derek's point of view.
I went down this rabbit hole. So, I don't know why I saw this book at Second and Charles, which is a used bookstore. And I was like, oh, that sounds cute. Well, I realized after I bought it, I thought it was the first book in a series. Turns out it's the first book in a separate series that you need to read after you read this other very long series.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't know that's how this happened.
That's how that happened. So
that's how the addiction started.
Yes. So I decided to track down what order you're actually supposed to read all of these books in. And this is the prequel. So this is actually book 0 is what it's labeled as. So if you probably don't know, Karen Kingsbury wrote this very long series called the Baxter Family series. And it's like 20 plus books, maybe more. But this is the prequel to all of them. And this she went back and wrote this later to kind of fill in the gaps, but she said like you can read this one first. So this follows, let me just tell you what the Baxter family is. So there's this family, the Baxter family. The mom and dad are both doctors. The dad is currently a practicing doctor at a hospital, and this follows them and their adult children. They have 4 daughters. Daughters and a son. So each book is kind of focusing on a different family member, but at the same time, you get glimpses into all the family's life, but it's kind of like each book is based on a specific problem that family member is going through. This one takes place at one of the sisters' wedding. So this kind of fills in the gaps of the other books. So I read this one, and then I immediately read the first series that goes together, which is called Redemption series. The covers are so awful, but let me tell you, if you like drama and family drama and family drama sagas, this is a series for you, because man, does it go on forever, and it's all like interlaced and weaving, and there's like side characters that eventually become main characters in other series. But it's really wholesome. Karen Kingsbury is a Christian author, if you didn't know that. So there are Christian elements sprinkled in, but it is also very entertaining. So if you like reality TV but want it to be clean, this could be a series for you. I read the book after this one in like less than 24 hours because it was wild. Like, I felt like I was watching a reality show. And then I sat down at a restaurant and tried to explain all of this to Emmalynn, and I was like, focus. I need to tell you all of the highlights of what's happened so far.
I don't know how it was only the highlights, honestly.
Yeah, it's a lot. A lot happens, and I've only read... So I've read this book. I've read Redemption, which is the first book. Then we have Remember and Return and Rejoice. They're all, starting with R. So,
wow.
If you've read these, let me know. Let me know which ones you've read. I'm going to continue this. It will take me years, but I'm going to do it because I'm invested at this point.
How many have you read already?
4, 5.
And it's been like a week.
4 counting this one. So I have one more to finish in the Redemption series, and then I can move on to the next series. But I'm really enjoying it. I wouldn't say it's like 5-star. It's not like mind-blowing good writing, but it is very entertaining.
5-star entertainment is not the same as a 5-star book.
No, but it is 5-star entertainment for sure.
My next book is Caraval and Legendary, and this is a reread for me. I decided for some reason, I'm very happy I did, but I decided for some reason that I need to reread all of these before I read Spectacular, even though it's just like a little Christmassy novella. But there are some things that like I forgot about. It's been like 2 or 3 years since I read this series, and I absolutely loved it once again. I feel like it was even better because I knew like some big things that were happening, so it's almost like I was paying more attention to see if like I could guess,
or like paying more attention to the details too.
Yeah. And just the writing is just unmatched for a debut novel. It blows my mind. Goals. If you don't know, Caraval is about 2 sisters, Scarlett and Tella, and for I don't even know how many years, Scarlett has been writing to Caraval's master Legend, basically begging for invitations to Caraval. Her and her sister have been living on this island with their father, who's very abusive since their mother left them when they were kids, and now she's in an arranged marriage. She hasn't sent an invitation for years, but he finally writes back and invites them, and she's like, well, I don't need to go, like, I'm getting married in a week. And her sister and this sailor they just met, Julian, are like, you're going. So Caraval is a game, so they say, that happens once every few years, and it hasn't happened in maybe like a decade, so it seems like it's a really big deal this year, and the stakes are higher. It's like, how do you even explain it?
It's almost like not escape room, but kind of.
The vibes are very circusy.
Yeah.
There's performers, people that, are also basically being paid to tell you things, and you have to figure out if they're true or actors. There's magic involved where, you know, to get a secret, you might have to lose a day of your life. And you think that means that you're going to have a day cut off at the end of your life. No, you're going to go in a 24-hour coma right then and there. And you get a secret. And that's how you pay for things. There's, like, all kinds of dark magic involved that's really... It's dark as in malicious, but not dark as in scary.
Yeah.
And as soon as they arrive at Caraval, Tella disappeared and has been kidnapped by Legend. And so for the next 5 nights, Julian is helping Scarlet find Tella. So this book follows Scarlet, this book follows Tella, and then the third book follows them both. So the stakes just get higher in every book, and it's just super fun.
Okay, the next book I picked up is The Christmas Bookshop by Jenny Colgan. I decided to pick this up because the second book came out this year, I think, which is Midnight at the Christmas Bookshop. And I've read other books by Jenny Colgan before, so I thought, I'll read this one. It's Christmassy, whatever. I didn't really love this. The vibes of it were cute. The setting was cute, but the main characters I didn't... Okay, so here's what happens. There's this girl named Carmen who works at a department store. At the very beginning of the book, the department store closes, so she's laid off. She lives with her parents, and her parents are like, you're gonna go live with your sister Sophia. And Sophia has 3 kids. She's married. She's a lawyer. Carmen is kind of resentful to her because she has like this picture perfect life. So she doesn't really want to go live with her. Her sister doesn't really want her to live with her either because she thinks Carmen is annoying because she has like resentment towards her. But Sophia is like, I'll help you get a job at this bookshop that's literally going to close in a matter of like a month if they can't turn a profit. So she gets Carmen to agree to work there and help this older man try to like revamp his bookshop. So that was cute. I liked him. I liked the people who came into the bookshop. But what's weird about this that took like a weird turn of events is like there's this author named Blair, which is a guy. It's just kind of a weird name. Anyways, he is like this famous author, like he's on TV a lot. He has like all this advice. Everyone's like, oh, you're so great, like whatever. Everyone like fawns over him. He just released a book and they want to come film like a segment for some morning show at this bookshop. So he comes there and he's like a grade A jerk, like very pretentious snob, like entitled. So he kind of starts like playing Carmen, and I'm like, why do you let him do that to you? Why do you even like him? He's such a jerk. So that aspect of it kind of ruined it for me. I thought he was annoying. I thought her liking him was annoying, or even like giving him the time of day. Because there's this other guy that she meets that's actually really nice to her. And she kind of blows him off for this other guy that's famous. Anyways, it was okay. I don't even know if I would give it. I don't know. I kind of don't even want to read the second one now. I don't know what I would give it, but I didn't really enjoy it that much.
That's sad.
So I don't even know if I would give it a 3. I know.
It's painful.
I know. But I just didn't like... It was mid. It wasn't even mid. I just didn't really like it. Yeah, that's that.
If the characters are bad in romance, there's nothing else going for it. This book is, you could barely call it a book. It's 120 pages. And that is The Unselected Journals of Emma Emmalynn, Volume 1. One of my friends recommended this to me. It's basically just, think about if you've read Guernsey Literary Potato Peel Pie Society, how it's each just letters. These are just, it's the same but journal entries, so there's the date, and then it'll still have dialogue and stuff, but almost as if she's recounting it. So a lot of it is like her inner dialogue, and it's just really entertaining. So this is about Emma Emmalynn in the year 1883 in London, and she recently returns to her London house because her father passed away, and so she's kind of waiting to become of age to take over the house pretty much, because it's currently being legally lented to her cousin, who just really has it out for her. He hates her and is like trying to sabotage her, spends the money of the house, just all kinds of things. And she's just really funny, kind of reminds me of Anne of Green Gables, because she just like says whatever she's thinking really, or says things to kind of undermine people into getting her way, because she just doesn't really care about societal standards. And it's just really funny. It's a good time. They're all around the 120, 200 page mark, I believe. The 8th volume just came out this week.
Oh, these are like currently being written?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So it's just kind of like it says readers have compared the unselected journals to Jane Austen, Ellen Montgomery, Jean Webster. So just like quirky 1800s women, a good time.
Okay, the last book I'm going to talk about is The Book Club Hotel. I think this was my favorite book that I read this month. I really loved the setting of this book, which takes place at a hotel. It's centered around a group of women that love to read. So,
can I just say?
Yeah. Say.
I read this book. She put me on it. It was amazing, but so much sadder than I expected.
It was.
I thought it was like a romance book, and I was like, what is happening?
There is romance in this.
It's definitely a Christmas women's fiction, which I've never read before, and I really liked, but I didn't read it.
It takes place in Vermont, in this little inn called the Maple Sugar Inn, and this girl named Hattie and her husband bought this inn to kind of be like their project together. That was going to be their livelihood, that they would just run this inn. And then he passes away suddenly before the book even takes place, like really random tragic accident. And they have a little girl. So she is trying to figure out how to run this inn on her own. She's not like the most, what do you call it? She's not very confrontational. Her staff kind of pushes her around. And so she's trying to navigate managing a hotel. So you have Hattie, and then you have these 3 friends who every year they go to a different hotel and have a book club, and it's like they're like high school friends, I think. And it's like their yearly tradition. They go to a hotel, they spend like a week there talking about books and catching up with one another. And so the 3 friends land at Hattie's inn, which one of them picked out, and the other 2 girls are like, this is kind of suspicious, because the girl that picked out this inn is like very spoiled, snobby, loves like 5-star hotels with spas. And so they're like, why did she pick this inn in Vermont for us to stay at? Well, you find out why she picked it. There is a specific reason. But it's just about friendship and family and loss.
Found family.
And the love for books. And it's really cute and really endearing. And I loved all of the characters, except for maybe one got on my nerves just a tiny little bit sometimes. But yeah, it's very wholesome. Really enjoyed it. So that's my last book.
Which one got on my nerves?
The snobby one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Erin.
Yeah. Yeah. Her.
Erins are the worst.
I know. My husband's name Erin. Anyway, those are all of the books we read in November. Let us know if you've read any. Let us know what's on your Christmas/December TBR.
Let us know, but
But we can't add any more to December. Maybe
give me some winter recommendations for January, because my Christmas, I was just looking at my bookshelf and I'm like,
how am I gonna get through these?
I'm overwhelmed because like family's coming, like we have to like
next week we're having like all of our favorite
the entire
people
country
here,
is coming over
basically. But that's okay. We're here for it.
I'm
just not here for a lot of reading.
It's gonna be okay.
It's fine. It's fine. Anyways,
we're not ungrateful. We're just introverts.
Yeah,
it's fine.
We just need our reading.
You get it.
Yeah,
you get it. Anyways,
we'll see you in our next video.